This is the Round 2 podcast with Galen, Parker, and Stephanie Nicole, where we talk to big thinkers, big dreamers, and big idea havers. Quitting and failing are not the same thing, and we're going to show you why. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are back like we never left. This is the Round 2 podcast starring Stephanie and Nicole, and I am
Hey,
Galen
everybody.
Parker. Stephanie Nicole, say hello to everybody. Hey there, everybody.
My weekend
Stephanie, how was
was
your
not
weekend?
good. First, it was boring. And
What
when I
happened?
went to church, I got pulled over by the police in the church parking lot for doing 52 and a 45. Like, who does that?
Why were the police at the church in the parking lot? Aren't you in private property?
Technically, I was
Can
pulling
they give you a ticket for
into
that?
the church. So, I don't know. Yes. I've never
They give
gotten
you
a
a
ticket.
ticket.
What is that? Seven over the speed limit? Oh, I'm like, I see people
That's
doing 90
bad.
all the time.
Come on, please. Come on, please. Do better. She's trying to get right with her spiritual. Happy is the man conscious of his spiritual needs. She's trying to go to the church. You're stopping her. That doesn't feel right. Well, what else happened? Anything better than that? So it was just boring, and then you got I was about to say, but then you got harassed by the police. Not exactly harassed,
And I wrote
but
7
you got
offers
a
and went under
ticket.
contract on 0. So, yeah. Sad weekend.
Aw,
How was
it
it
happens to the best of
yours?
us. You are the best of us. The weekend was okay. I'm low key when it comes to weekend. I'm just trying to work. I worked all the days. I showed houses. I went under contract with 2 properties. One was my listing. One was a buyer. Did home inspection on Saturday. That came out pretty good. So try to stay busy. I had to make up for the crazy Friday I had, which was, I don't know if I told you that. Like my laptop died as I was giving a presentation. When I say it died, I don't mean like the battery died. I mean the battery went to battery heaven.
That's what
Like it wouldn't take a charge, wouldn't do anything, and I'm just like, like I'm running around. So I called a different place. I'm like, hey, I need to get a new battery, and they're like, oh yeah, no problem, 24 to 48 hours. I'm just like, do you think that I can be without my computer for 24 to 48 hours? So I call a place in Richmond. I put it on my Instagram story. They changed my battery in an hour. And the guy was like, I don't know if you noticed, like your Wi-Fi keeps jumping off and off. I'm going to work on that while you come to get it. So I come and get it. He had fixed my Wi-Fi. He fixed an issue that was happening so long that I didn't even pay attention to it anymore. I was just kind of like, oh yeah, that's just what it does. He was like, yeah, I deleted all your settings and I rewrote your Wi-Fi settings application. You're good to go. I'm like, so I went out and put a Google review on those guys. And they just responded. I'm like, you guys, the GOATs, when it comes to it. I was very happy. The one slight downside as I was getting my battery changed, I was downtown working in the office. I was like, I got some time to kill, so I go to the office. I come back out, and there's a homeless
literally
man
in the back
in the
seat
back seat of my
inside your car.
He was like rooting around in it. Like, so when I came around the corner off of Broad Street onto, I think that's like 4th Street, he was like in it, and I'm like, in the back seat, there's nothing in my car. There's like some real estate signs. And I'm like, I yell at him, and he comes back, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He just keeps like apologizing, like backing away. And I'm just like, so I think to myself, what would Jesus do? I didn't make a big deal of it because I knew there was nothing in there. There's no like money or anything. And he was like backing away. And I was like, I went and looked at the back seat and saw there was nothing. He didn't make a mess. And I closed it. I'm like looking at him. I'm just like, just let it go. But it was just still kind of wild. I'm like, what is going on today? Like, what's in the water? So I was like, all right. And I was like, partially it's that my fault because my gym bag got stuck in the door. So it didn't like latch completely. So I'm just like, you know what? That's on me. He did what he was supposed to do. He's an unhomed person. He saw an opportunity. He went for it. And ladies and gentlemen, he's going to be on the show next week. No, I'm just kidding. But, he did what he was supposed to do. So it is what it is. But how about before last weekend, you and your partner, Gardy, were so gracious enough to invite this crazy kid by the name of Galen Park from Long Island, New York, to be on your
Wealth
Instagram Live.
Wednesdays.
It is, what is it,
And
Wealth Wednesdays?
Successful entrepreneurs
Wealth
about their
Wednesdays,
journey in the business realm.
I love it. 103. That was the 103rd episode. So if you guys are watching this, check out the 103rd episode. I think we got like 1,000 views right now. That was a blast. Really enjoyed it. So
honestly,
what gave you guys the idea to start that?
I was friends with like an online coach. He coaches wholesaling, and I was interested in kind of getting into the online business, like online digital product sales. I was like, what can I do that's actionable that I can start right now that would, get my foot forward? And he was like, You're gonna have to go live once a week on the same night every night. So yeah. And I didn't want to go by myself. So
You guys
originally it
did
was
it.
four of us all together. Yes. And then
Oh,
one by
really? I didn't know
one,
that.
people was dropped. Two people dropped off. We added another one. That person dropped off, and then it's just been me and Gardy.
It is a commitment, but I liked it because I even told Gardy, I said, you guys have consistency, which if you're going to be an entrepreneur, that's one of the things you have to have more than talent, more than ability, more than like is consistency. That will win over. So well done with you guys. That was wonderful. Fast forward to this coming Wednesday because you're going to be doing the 104th episode Wednesday night. But in the morning, dance card is already booked.
Yeah, we have a
Talk to the people. Tell
Rockstar
them what you're doing.
Mastermind plan, and I was invited to be a speaker. It is by another agent out here, RVA Realtor Bay. If y'all want to go check her out on Instagram, but it is my part of the event is I'm going to be showing people how to automate their social media profiles so that they don't have to answer every DM, every comment, and you can generate leads and build an email list using your social media. So that's what I'll be talking about on Wednesday.
And she was able to get your boy Galen a ticket in there. So I'm gonna be creeping in the back door, taking notes, trying to like meet people. Very exciting. Hats off to you. That's
Sold
awesome.
out
You deserve
three
that. You
times.
deserve the
Like we were
success.
only
Go
supposed to
after it.
have,
So,
I think, 25 people. Then that sold out so quick. She added 25 more
mm-hmm.
seats, and then that sold out. Like we sold like 50 seats in a day, and then she added 25 more seats. I'm trying to get somebody to sign up today. Seats were full. I was like, you gonna have to open up another seat.
I don't even like. I got to check the details as far as where it is, but it should be good. Also, my question that popped in mind: what should I wear? What are you? Is this? Are we dressing up? Are we dressed to impress? Can I wear? I would never wear this. I'm wearing my
I
Dragon
think
Ball Z T-shirt.
good
Shout out to the
today.
creator that owns the sky.
I think you look good today. I will wear that.
Huh?
You matching your shoes, matching your shirt, and all that.
Stop. Stop. I'm gonna be a little more, a little more professional. Today is a dress down day for me. I'm gonna be a little. So I think I might throw in the blazer, but I'm trying to be
Well,
like
you
the
already
cool
know
kids.
I'm
Trying to be
coming.
like you guys. Trying to be hip and with it. I'm gonna get my eyelashes done this
That's
evening.
me.
No, I'm sorry, stop. All right. I'm glad that she got the pro makeup coming on. Mua MUA. Is that what it's called? I feel like I read that somewhere about makeup. I'm glad that we were able to have such an eventful introduction because that leads into something that I often forget. So if you have not done so yet, fingers down, pointing down, feel free to like and subscribe. Stay up to date as we follow you. We coach you. This is basically, if you watch this, this is free coaching. Stephanie in real life does not coach for free. Galen Parker in real life does not coach for free. But if you watch our episodes, you're basically getting coached for free. So you're welcome. Like and subscribe. Stay up to date. It is time for the question of the week. I like this question because a lot of it has to do with social media. Because these are, I try to think about like oncoming trends, technology. I get kind of annoyed when people, in my mind, demonize social media. So the question for the week is, with the rise of social media, are we losing the ability to have a genuine conversation? Again, with the rise of social media, are we losing the ability to have a
I
genuine
want to hear your answer
conversation?
first.
Stephanie, your answer. So I would say no. I think if you use social media as a tool, I view it as a tool, not an escape. If you use social media as the tool, it can really help you process some of your ideas, some of your beliefs, and it can widen your viewpoint on different perspectives if you use it correctly. And I think that it can spark a genuine conversation. There are people that I did not know before social media that I was able to see kind of a glimpse into their personality, into things they say, like, and then reach out to them and have a deeper, more meaningful conversation and understand who they are, their belief. You have to be able to carry on a conversation as an adult. That is my opinion. I feel like a lot of people, due to maybe COVID, due to the being in your house, they lost the ability to have a conversation. And a lot of people say, oh, it's because of social media. But newsflash, some of those people weren't good at having conversations before social media, but we ain't talking about that, are we? So I think it has not ruined it, but it might have expanded on it. But a lot of it, you've got to use that as a tool. There are tons of people who just stay on it all day. their eyes are stuck to it, and then they if you look at people like at the mall or on public transportation, everyone's like looking down, looking at their phone, like no one wants to talk to each other. That is a possibility, but that's in my opinion is because they're
I
using it.
actually
But
think that conversations
what
are
do you
better
think?
because of social media. So, one, it offers us a platform to have
Okay.
those uncomfortable conversations that we may not be able to have, at the family reunion or at Thanksgiving because your family is going to be like, oh, no, we don't want to talk about that. I also think that we are able to connect with different people. Like before, maybe back before 2021, I wasn't really like a social media person. So I know I opened up TikTok in 2021. But let's
I don't
see.
blame.
I just feel like since I've been on social media, I have expanded my mind so much. It's crazy. Like things I'm finding out about things I would have never known had I not started a conversation on Instagram or even TikTok or, Facebook. Like, for example, I literally did not know about like business credit, business funding, flipping with, business credit cards until I got on the internet, researched it, connected with somebody who had done it before, watched them do it, then did it myself. So now it's like, I don't think I would have
Mm.
known about that had I not, had that conversation on social media. So,
I like it. I think there are people who say like, "Oh, the kids need to get outside more." Because yes, there is cyberbullying. And sure, but I often think about the kid who maybe they just don't have a local community. They don't have a lot of they're odd. They don't have a lot of friends at school. Their parents don't they're not a, their parents aren't a member of like a church or a some sort of group where they can make connections outside of. They didn't play sports. I see some of those kids get online, find their community, and have some of the most wholesome conversations and idea development that I just think they would have never had the opportunity to do without social media. Whether they live in a location like if you're living way out in like Iowa, like you're not going to be able to have a conversation about sports or music theory or anime with anyone around you. So there is a kind of cool thing about it. You've traveled when you were younger due to the military, but I know there's been times where I've gone to places and been like the second black person in a store or in a town that
here.
day. And it's like that's a weird feeling. But now with this next generation, they're interacting with people all over the country. It's not a novelty of seeing someone who's different than them. So I think social media does benefit people. So that's our 2 cents. Ladies and gentlemen, hit the comments. Feel free to DM us. Let us know what you think. Is social media has that stunted genuine
Now, I did
conversation?
want to go back to the
I would love to
kids
get your
because I think
thoughts.
sometimes as adults we have we have unrealistic expectations. Like we ask for one thing, but don't let that thing like be something. Like a lot of adults are like, "Oh, the kids need to go outside, play amongst each other, da 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 da." But in the same breath, you won't send your children out there because one, they could roam down the street or get kidnapped by a pedophile in the back of a van or something, or you feel like they're going to get into. Yeah, we gotta be accountable.
I just found the
How did
clap.
you find
I
that?
just
I
found the
want
clap
one.
button under. It was under media on the
Oh, yeah. I
bottom
think you
right.
have to
I had
add
media
me
button.
as like an
I don't know if
actual
you got it.
person on here.
Might be just me. We tried that before and I messed up the entire episode. But no, you are correct. Things are different. I will give parents some slack. Things are a lot different because for whatever reason, people just as a kid, I thought nothing of spending time outside all day long
No.
with my
Did
friends,
you
with
used
people my
to like
parents have
ride
taught me.
your
Now
bike
it's
for
just
just
like
miles?
these people are crazy. All day. All like on my grandmother's street in Midlothian, all day. Just back and forth. Old Bay Road, just to the
I was
end to
going
the back.
to
I do that for 3 hours. And just like I mean, the only I would drive like when I was at my old house, ride my bike down Midlothian Turnpike to go to a place called Farmore. It was like a I don't know, they didn't have Farmore anymore, but like all
hmm
my friends we'd go up there and we'd buy candy and stuff. It's like you could have got
no,
kidnapped, hit by
no
a car.
phones. We
Ain't
just
nobody got cell
outside.
phones. So
The street lights
you just
coming
know
on.
you better get home
That's what
by
it
a
was.
certain o'clock. So I had to be way before the street light. My mom ain't playing. I had to beat her if she got home from work and we were not home. That's a wrap because that Parker ain't playing. So, but anyways, shall we digress? We're talking, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk a little bit about what do you do with some of your big ideas. I can say for myself, all my ideas aren't good. Some of them are good. Some of them are basura. They're trash. They're not great. So how can we evaluate? How can we create a system in which we can move our ideas just from up here to maybe pen and paper into reality? Sometimes you hear someone else's idea and you think, man, that's a good idea, but I would do this or I would add on this, and you make their idea better. If you make their idea better, is it
I
still
don't
their
know.
idea or is it now your idea? Who gets
I
credit for that? What do you think? If you have an idea, you just say, yeah, here's my idea. But then someone goes like, I like that idea, but I'm gonna do this, that, and it turns into this big thing. Like, is it really still your idea? In my opinion, it's not your idea anymore. Because there's no such thing as genuine idea.
So let me ask
So
you a quick question. So there's this big debate on whether or not people are wrong on, you know, how people copy and paste statuses or like steal other people's content. How do you feel about that?
okay. Personally, I don't care. Now, I steal your stuff all the time. I even tell you. Now, if you had a video of you talking and I
Yeah, that's what I'm
copied
talking
that and
about. Like,
posted
no,
mine
they're
of
not
you
changing
talking,
anything. They're not. I want to know, like, if you copy, paste, and that's it. You don't change up the words or nothing, or you take somebody's video.
does it ever point back to me? Or
Only if my
does
face
it
is in
point
it and
back
I'm
to you as the
talking.
original?
Otherwise, no.
I personally don't care. Like if someone steals like something from me, take it and be blessed, right? There's no original ideas anymore. Like if you had something that was awesome and you've got 5 followers, and then I copy that because I got 500,000 followers. Hey, good. You had a great idea. I just made it a bigger idea. You had a hot line. I made it a hot
Drag
song,
you on,
right?
yeah,
What was that?
they're
Jay
gonna
Z?
drag
Jay Z
you
said
on
that,
threads when they get a hold of this.
huh? I'm sure. I'm sure. And like they'll probably say, like, Galen, but the thing is, if you've got an idea, it's like art. It's like if someone painted a picture of the sunset, are they like now the sunset painting guy? Or if I paint a picture of the sunset, like can I not also have that? Like I don't know. Now if I like took something that you said verbatim and I was like etched your name out and was like this is Galen Parker, then there's some things where it's like all right, this is kind of
Hmm.
it's just cheaply made. But sometimes the cheaply made thing it looks cheap, and so you're like, oh, okay.
For me
What do you
personally,
think?
I have it happen all the time, and I don't care because I have the mindset of if you had to come to my page to get ideas or post or content, then not only are you one of my fans, but you have to come to me first before you do anything. So that's flattery on my part. I feel super special. Like,
A mother, right? Your mother, right? You got, and when they take something of you, is it the content that they're taking? I mean, is it like
they
your
take all my
voice
posts.
that
They
they're
take them
taking, or what
originally.
are
They
they
just
taking?
download them and repost them.
So I'll
Once
go to their page
if
and
it's
still
a
see
post with
you.
me in it, but they take all of the posts, and some of my posts don't have me in it, and they don't remix them, and sometimes they don't even tag me, but it's okay because my face is still out in the internet world.
You're the source, right? So like I see, and to me, I'm like that. I wouldn't mind it either because I'm just like, at the end of the day, you can't be me. Like if someone
Ooh,
corners you and has a conversation, they're
yep.
gonna realize, oh wait, you're not the source of the information. You don't know what you're talking about, and then it's like then you look dumb. But if they come to me, I'm gonna talk for days, and they're like, "Yeah, Galen really is about that life because he won't shut up about it. We are trying to get away from him. He's chasing us down the road, still talking." So, you can copy if you want to. So,
Okay,
copy. I don't care. Make me bigger. We're gonna be big. We're gonna be huge by
for
the end
sure.
of 2025, 24. So, okay. But when we were talking about ideas, a gentleman many years ago, he told me about a method called Scamper.
I like the
It's a silly name, but it reminds me of ways in which and I'm going to challenge the listeners. You might have to Google it because I'm not going to be able to explain it in like the next 8 minutes of the show. But Scamper stands for this: is substitute, combine, adapt, modify, put to another use, eliminate, rearrange, or reverse. And it's basically I'm taking an idea that, let's say the idea has 4 components. Well, the substitute portion of that thinking is, all right, let me take these 4 components, let me remove one of the components and replace it with another component. So if I've got a podcast on music and it has guests and has question of days, well, maybe I'll substitute one thing, music, and I'll replace it with entrepreneurial. So now it's a similar podcast, but I've removed music and I've put like an entrepreneurial thought. So now I've substituted that idea. And then I look at the idea, I'm like, is this still interesting? Is this still good? Sometimes the substitution isn't better. And you substitute and people are like, oh, this is boring. I don't want to listen to this. So then you're like, okay, fair play. I'll substitute something else. And you keep doing that with your idea or with an idea until you get it to something one that it's either better in your mind or you're comfortable with it. That's the substitution part. The combine is like, all right, so I'm seeing these two aspects. I'm thinking, all right, how do I combine this energy? And I see a lot when he first told me this, you know what I thought about? I thought about the mid 2000s. If you had a hot song on the hip hop charts, it was always a combination. It was a rapper and then it was a feature for an R&B singer. That was like the combo that always had success. They're combining an idea. They're like, all right, I'm going to get this guy, I'm going to get DMX to rap, and I'm going to get Usher to sing the hook, or I'm going to get 112 to sing the hook. That's the combination. And people loved it because they're just like, oh my goodness, you're combining these two different ideas, different worlds, different backgrounds, and you've made something that's better. Well, you can still do the same thing with ideas and thoughts. The A part is obviously adaptation. You're just like, all right, how do I make this work for me? I think about like you guys on your like Wealth Wednesday. You adapted that to make sense for what you guys wanted, and it's a success. Consistency breeds success. So then you have modify. Obviously, you guys know what modify means. Put to another use. You look at it in a new way. I'm like, all right, well, what if I did this? What if I took this thing and shifted it and moved it in this direction? You can often think about products that are successful. I always think about the Super Soaker. When that guy created the Super Soaker, he wasn't looking to make a squirt gun. He was looking for a distribution system. And it just happened that he was like, oh, you know what? If I pump this pressure up, hit this trigger, it shoots out water. Like, that'd be a fun thing for kids. Like, there's a lot of ideas where it's like, it starts as one thing, and then we adapt and modify it, and we're like,
Did
oh,
not know the story.
we could
Hold
use
on,
it for
wait.
that
Let's
thing.
back up real quick. What was he making?
I believe if it was correct, they were looking for a distribution system to administer. I forgot what the product is, but they needed to be able to administer it from a distance. So they're just like, so it's a propel, and the guy was, I think he was black too, who created the Super Soaker. So
I'm gonna
fact
look
check
that
me,
up later.
internet, yes, or commenters. But it's a real cool story. I love stories like that. I love when people are like, oh, we used to do this and now we do that. I read this book about the start of using penicillin and other type drugs. It's fascinating. I wish I could remember the book. I'll have to look it up later. But essentially, they're talking about how they were trying to just come up with dyes for clothing, and it lent itself to the creation of vaccinations and all these treatments. And the people who were behind it were the Nazis. So they were joking, saying like, when you get like your flu shot or when you use penicillin, thank the Nazis. It's like a wild story, but it was like fascinating. It was a long book, but I read it. But it's like, you had this one idea, this one concept, and now you're using it for something totally different. You're going to have to do that with your ideas. Some of your ideas, you're going to think, all right, this would be cool if, let's say, if you have like, you're going to create a business where you're making t-shirts. Who's going to be your target audience? What are your shirts going to be made of? What are your designs going to be made of? There's just so much switching and alternating and modifying for it to eventually be a success. And then, like a lot of business, it might still fail. What do you use, Stephanie, when you're evaluating? Because you said something earlier that I loved when we were talking about it in pre-record about how what
When
do
it
you
comes to
look
my
to when you're
ideas,
thinking about your
I
ideas?
usually just do what's on my heart and just put it out in the world. But how I decide what I keep and what I don't keep is I use data and statistics, of course. I see what's working. And if something's working, I'll try to duplicate that thing that was working and then test everything that came out of the duplications and see if I can make something better or if that thing was like a one off or if it can even be duplicated. And then things that don't work, I try to like experiment and see if I can make them work and or there may need some type of tweaks or maybe it just doesn't work. So yeah.
I when you just said that, I think about like sometimes I'll create a reel and I'm like, this is gonna be fire, and it's it's not that great, and then I create something else, just kind of like I just put it up there and it just goes wild, and then Instagram and Facebook they have the nerve to be like, hey, this reel's performing really well. create more like it. I'm like, if I could create more like it, I would have done that. I don't know why this thing is popping like it is. Instagram, you tell me. But I think you're right on. You just have to like duplicate it and make some small tweaks to kind of get it. And sometimes it doesn't work. Like I put a reel that I laughed that I created the other day. I put it on Instagram. It did okay. I put it on TikTok. It did okay. Put it on Facebook. It went wild. And it's just like, it's so interesting to see how like different
Yeah.
companies, different audiences, they see something, they're just like, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen. And I'm like, how come TikTok doesn't agree? And then I'll put something on TikTok and then 5,000 people viewed it. And I'm like, why are you guys watching this? Like, okay. Like one of my longest TikToks or the most views, it's like a 3-minute video of me just talking about a story. I'm like, is this what you like?
So different
Is this what it is?
platforms
I don't
do
know.
push different things. I will say Facebook is its own little thing. Like you might just be popping on Facebook. You might be popular. I know TikTok is looking for longer videos now, so they're pushing those. I don't know why you would want longer videos, but whatever.
Okay.
I like short stuff. Like my attention span is low. I like my videos in 15 seconds. Give me everything you got in 15 seconds.
We're gonna have to fix that in editing because you're about to get some wild DMs after you post that. Like everything I got in 15 seconds, and we're gonna be like, all right, we're gonna need that class on how to get the AI bot to respond to all your DMs because it is crazy. There's been a couple of times where I've
Yes.
DM'd you and then a bot responded, and I was like that. I was like, we're friends. I can't even get through. It's like running into someone's like caller ID. It's just like, hey, it's me. It's Galen. You know me.
You
Like,
use the one
what
of
can
the
I help
trigger
you with
words.
today? I'm like,
So there
I know, and I don't even know what I said
you
too.
can't
So,
say ready
but
in
I need
DMs.
to figure that out. I'm gonna go
Ready.
to. You can't say what? Oh, if you're just like, hey, are you ready to? Then
Hmm.
you're like, are you
Even if
ready
you say
to? And
I'm
they'll send me a
already,
link.
like
What'd you say?
already, any variation of the word ready will send that statement. Mhm. Yeah,
Ready to
boom.
get pre-approved, and you immediately like, boom, get hit there. I like that. I love this conversation because everyone has got something different. Some people they stay late up night. I wake up in the middle of the night and I will grab my phone and I turn on the voice memo and I'll put my ideas there. Some people make lists. My brother he makes like pros and cons lists. I was never good at that, but that might be something that you do. Whatever you do, make sure that you're evaluating honestly with yourself the idea. There's nothing worse when someone presents an idea to me and I ask like, oh well, did you do think of this? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, well, what about this? And they're like, no. And I'm like, hey, listen, I've heard your idea for like 5 seconds. I've had 10 questions and you have no answers. I'm like, it was like, you obviously have not evaluated any of this, but like, don't ever get in that position because I've been in that position and I can say that with full discernment that I've been that guy where I'm like, Stephanie, check out this new thing. And the person's like, oh, what about this? I'm like, what about if you do that? I'm like, I don't know. Like, it's the worst feeling because it makes you think like, do I even know what I'm doing? And you're not, it's not that you're not successful, it's just that you're not there yet. The idea's not there yet, but it will be. Confucius said, I sent Stephanie some quotes, I'm probably going to misquote them, but I think it was Confucius said, there's no such thing as
I like that though.
failures, there's just people who quit. And I was like, to me that makes a lot of sense. It's like there's no such thing as failure, there's, you just quit. If you don't quit, you'll just keep going. And so it's like water, you're going to find the solution, you're going to find the drain. So keep it up. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been our podcast. We're at 32 minutes. Please forgive me. But it's really needed. And next week we're going to kind of dig a little bit deeper as the entrepreneur spirit and thoughts. But Stephanie, if they
Stephanie
need to reach
Nicole
you,
RVA
where
on
do they
all
go?
platforms. What about you, Galen? Where can they reach you?
Like I am now, thanks to Stephanie, the underscore Galen Parker on all platforms. Back in the day, I was this name, that name. I'm learning. Earlier today, Stephanie told me about making sure that I'm putting captions in my stories because there's people who are in church trying to use Instagram
I know I need the
when they
captions
should
on
be.
so that when they're
Thank you.
singing, I have things to do.
Shouldn't you be
I'm
singing
here to
with?
see.
I mean,
I'm
I
here
don't
to
know.
hear the
Shouldn't you be
word.
singing
That's
with
it.
them? Like, that's hilarious. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been outstanding. We'd love to hear your feedback on that question of the week. Maybe Stephanie will put it up on her Instagram. Maybe we'll get some answers from you guys. Maybe we'll even talk about those answers on the show next week. My name is Galen Parker. This is Stephanie Nicole, the Round Two podcast. Bye bye.